Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is our first of hopefully many videos. Let's get right into it. I'll explain everything while the world loads. So, this is a Minecraft world I created based on Ayn Rand's book, Anthem. Due to the lack of description in the book, much of it is based on my interpretation of the book. It is also incomplete because I was on a deadline for my school, because this was a project. So, there is much I can and hopefully will add. I will also be calling the characters Prometheus and Gaia, even if they only got those names at the end. So, some things it may be lacking is the house of reproduction, the theater, and there's no women's side of uh, the town. So, I was also limited by what I could and could not do in Minecraft. So, keep this in mind. And it just had to be raining. Okay, well, let's start out. I'm gonna start out by going in order for most things. Alright, so the first thing in here is the house of the sweepers. As you can see, it's mainly just made of stone and wood. I did this because, as Ayn Rand described, their things were very plain. They were void of anything except 100 beds. But I always imagined the sweepers had to have some place to store all their equipment to clean the streets and everything. So in this chest, I have put a brush to pretty much take up Prometheus's role. Alright, before we go into the tunnel, we're going to come over here. And this is where he would be helping sweeping everything and met the golden one. Right? Or, in other words, Gaia. So, over here, this whole thing is the women's side. Right? They mentioned how they were the farmers. So, here we have crops of wheat, beets. No, don't fall in the water. Okay. Potatoes and carrots. And around here is where the golden one was, because their roles were to farm, pick flowers, things like that, and just produce. But I always imagined there was some form of border between them. So right here in this border, here's the border that they have, that they so that they can keep the men and women separate. Okay, now time to go into the tunnel. In Minecraft, you can use suspicious gravel and oh well, that's not what I meant to do. In archaeological dig sites, so you can use suspicious gravel, and they will sometimes hold things, and I just considered that as garbage. So let's just go down here. As you can see, I used copper in this tunnel because that's the closest thing I could get to either rusted iron or copper in itself, whichever one the actual tunnel was made of. And then in here, I always imagined it like a subway. So it's all smooth and really not a lot of damage because of the fact that all this stone was kept underground, where it was truly very safe from being harmed by things like weathering and erosion, things like that. So it just sat down here a while. Same with the rails. There is a cave-in, which is how this part came to be, along with over here, which blocks the path of continuing. So over here is actually the light he found, the light box he found. So he was able to get it working, turn it on and off. And I would create it with actual redstone, but I had to be small enough for him to carry. So this is what I had to do. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to get out of the inventory though, because I'm in creative. So in here we have the lever, which is how he was able to get it working, and then the actual box, which is the lamp. So, perfect. Well, as we leave, he found this hole and he was able to always cover it up and everything. So, you come up here, and this was the box he ends up taking later on to the House of Scholars, which is right there. So, in the House of Scholars, there's a big staircase upwards, even though they always imagined no brother was better than any other. There was obviously people who were considered higher, like the scholars. And so just like the House of Sweepers, this place is void of anything except 100 beds, um, until you go up the stairs. Up here, this is where they research and discover all these new things, like they discovered the candle, which they use the cauldrons and the brewing stands for over there. So these are cartographer tables, which allows them to create more maps and discoveries with world and things like that than books, for them to be able to read and jot down their knowledge and things like that. The actual cauldrons, which they were able to use to create things, dye things or create candles, things like that. Anvils for discovering metals and things like that. Which, if you were wondering why none of the houses were made of metal, which would make it seem more plain, I never imagined them actually having iron there already, so I ultimately decided not to use it. Then the furnace is here for smelting and cooking things, and obviously the brewing stands that allowed them to also create candles and things like that. Over here is the table for the Council of Scholars, where they're able to talk and converse and everything, which is where he actually came with the box of light. And obviously you can see you can actually sit in the chairs. That's because I created using minecarts and rails. I was able to make chairs, which is really cool. Well, he came here and showed them the light box, but they shunned him and said, no, you cannot be better than your brothers and everything. So he realized, I can't do this. This is not, they won't listen, and I can't help them at all. So over here, this is the part where he runs and jumps out and breaks out the window. And he just starts running and keeps running for a while, up until he reaches the tree, where he goes under to sleep for the night, and he wakes up to the sound of running. He was scared that the people followed him or going to hurt him or kill him, but it was just the golden one, and this is where they found him, where she found him. And so they decided to run away together, right? So they're continuing on, and they end up going until they see a house up on a mountain. And so they are running and just going through the forbidden forest, where they thought they were gonna die, but they did not. And so they're able to climb up the mountain and get to the actual house, where it's an old house covered with many plants and mossy rocks and ruined everything pretty much. So they jump and go through, and they realize, oh, well, this is a nice place, and this is where Prometheus would sit down and write in his journal, which is the point of view where the book is taken, right? So he'd place down his book here, and he'd write in it while Gaia is over there sleeping. And well, eventually he sees this line of stuff. He's like, oh, strange. I wonder, what is this? And he's able to get he realizes that's a generator. Oh, come on, man. Work with me here. That's a generator. And so he attempts to fix it and is actually successful. So he comes back in and is able to actually fix the lights there. and thus we're able to see more of the house. Here is all the bookcases where he found those books and realized of the name Prometheus and Guide. I was going to add a um a few books here that you can actually pull out and read. Uh, and it would tell you about the Greek gods and the story of Prometheus and Gaia and all those different things, but I did not have time overall to finish them. So actually underneath this chest, if you guys see it, is another one. Ah, no, I can't reach it right now, but that's why I put it underneath it. So you are able, the books are actually in there that I did not finish. And so they pretty much live out their life here, just like it said in the book. But I always imagined their kids had some place to play and hang out, and this was the place. So hopefully I will put out another video where it's an updated version of the world, fully completed to my interpretations of the book, um, and I'm able to tell the whole story of Anthem through this Minecraft world. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see how everything goes.